Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
And the 2 standardized events have been announced, and we are going to talk about them today in all of their glory and give our opinions on it, what to expect, why they chose those. Obviously, we're speaking in our own vacuum when it comes to that, but we do have a special announcement coming a little bit later that we just teased on Instagram. It's been a long time coming, but I'm super excited. Good morning, everyone. Corey, Elise, what's up? What's up? And listen, guys, it's the best time of the year. It's semifinal season, which used to be regional season. We're calling semifinals, but this is my favorite time of the year.
Can we not just call it? Can we not just call it regionals? Like, are we doing that just because it needs to be different?
Continentals.
I mean, you remember how I had such an issue about the whole sanctional crap.
Sanctionals was crap.
Hated.
That was a craft name.
Dumbest made up word
craft
ever.
Name. David,
ever.
Eric, Stefan, Sandalax. I don't know what your real name is, but I'm just going to call you that. I want it. Call you that. Semi-regionals. I like that. Semi-regionals.
So it's like saying semi-chub.
Stefan, I don't know if we can say that word anymore. Is that you know? you're gonna call me Box Fitness. I ain't gonna call you Whoop.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry. I mean, unless they sponsor the podcast, then I will say Whoop all day long. But before we get there, let's talk about Bubs Naturals. Bubs Naturals, MCT oil powder. We had a amazing conversation with the founder of Bubs Naturals last week with Sean Lake. If you guys missed that episode, this wasn't a puff piece. This wasn't a sponsor piece. This was sitting down with Sean Lake, who helped design the hero workout Glenn, which is the namesake for the company itself. He didn't start this company to become a supplement company. He actually started as a means to help fund the Greg Doherty Memorial Foundation, because 10% of all proceeds that they make go to supporting that foundation. Greg Doherty, who died heroically in Benghazi. And Glenn talked about them growing up. They were childhood friends, and to lose someone that close to you in the way that they did, and to have CrossFit almost rally behind him, was a very important piece of the conversation. So if you guys missed that, please go back and take a listen, because it was so much more than just about a workout or just about the company or about Sean, but it was really about, I want to say it like the beauty of just OG CrossFit.
Oh man, dude, to a core. Right. It was all the ideas that CrossFit, at least like when we came up in CrossFit, it was just badassness, doing badass things. Hey, you need some help? Boom, we're on it. We're going to help you out. We'll pump it up here. We'll push it there. And I mean, that was one of the beauties of being back in those early days. But you're right. It was not just about, oh, here's what the workout is, and here were some special numbers or whatever. It was how the whole thing got created. So now when you go to do it, you understand the reasons why you're doing it, not the rep sets or whatever, but like why you're doing it. And also even like, I mean, how the things got picked, because none of them were what they originally wanted, what Sean originally wanted. So it's super cool. You guys got to listen to it. It's fun. It was a good time.
It was a great time. And Sean has such awesome stories, and just the way he talked about, I mean, we talked about Greg Glassman, we talked about Dave Castro, and what integral part they had with the development of this, that relationship between Sean
and Home Depot Center, man.
The Home Depot Center, guys.
The tennis court. Come on.
There's not a lot of people you can see like they did that.
Yeah.
But everyone's favorite venue and basically everyone's favorite era of the CrossFit Games was only possible because of Sean Lake. Not one little piece. He was the reason on how the games got moved there. So if you again go listen to that episode. It was super fun to talk to him. And Element 26 is on board with us. They're actually coming out, Bill. They're coming out with a leather weight belt.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say leather thumb tape.
I don't know how that would work with sweat. All I can see is like, do you remember like playing baseball, and like I sucked at baseball, so I was like put in right field because nobody could really pull it when they were 12 years old. Well, a baseball. 12 years old is when we learned how to pull it. But like, let's get back to it. But I would just chew on my the strings of my glove, because for some reason, like chewing on that leather had that weird like tape. Do you remember doing that?
I didn't really play baseball, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I
I
feel
know what
like
you're
that would
talking about.
happen if we had leather leather thumb grips. But go to element26.co. Use the code GetWith15. The thumb tape, the wrist wraps, everything you need CrossFit accessory wise, they have it. And be on the lookout for some new products that are coming out. I think Semifinals are going to debut that leather belt, which just is another level of security when it comes to your posterior chain. Then before we get to the events, let's talk about the WOD-Proof app. It's not just a video app. There's so much more. There's programming, there's coaching tips, and then there's the Bionic, which is getting you right by knowing where you are.
Yeah, do you know where you are yet? Have you done it yet?
Okay,
God dang it,
I
Chase.
have to stop
You're
hurting
afraid.
myself.
You know what it is? You're afraid of the AI technology that they're using because you're afraid that your phone's going to go, Chase, you suck at moving right now.
I don't need artificial intelligence to tell me that I suck at something. I keep hurting myself. So when I unpull my groin and I bend my right arm all the way out, maybe I'll start taking it.
Well, if you and when you are ready to start moving better, use their AI technology. That's what the Get Bionic is all about. It uses the app on your phone to have you move in different ways, to see where you're moving, how you're moving, and then gives you a whole plan to get better. So it's $19.99 a month. Check it out if you want to move better, which is if you are done in your season right now, now is the time to do that. Get yourself moving better so you can make those gains later. Do it up.
Yeah, do it up. All right, well, let's talk about the events. Let's see, Bruce. What's up, Bruce? Bruce, do we have Bruce and the Corys here? I see one Corey.
I think we got the crew, yeah.
Got the crew. Good morning, everyone. Or afternoon, depending on where you are. Afternoon for me, morning for Bill.
Yeah, it's morning.
Bruce, did you see... What's your take on Talking Elite Fitness hiding behind a paywall to talk about Savan and Hiller? I think it was initially behind a paywall for their, obviously Talking Elite Fitness came out with, they do their Friday Q&A stuff and roundtable, which, I mean, we've always thought about doing, but this is our way of doing it. We go live with most of our episodes.
Doing it right now, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. And, you know, they had some comments about Savan podcast and the Hiller podcast. And during the live feed, that's behind a paywall for their Patreon supporters, which, by the way, if you want to support us, you guys can go over there and get some free workouts on the week. We just posted Bill, number 45.
That's right.
But now that video to what you're talking to, Bruce, is actually, you can see that they have it on their YouTube channel. So it's not hiding anymore behind that. So thoughts on that? Not really.
Look, my thoughts are this: everyone has their voice, and everyone that is not themselves are going to say that they're the real deal, and everyone else is not the real deal. I mean, you hear that all over the place. You know, we know all of these guys. We are close with all of these guys. It is what it is, you know, and just like everything, like if there was another group out here that was talking about programming, and we've heard other people talk about programming, and we think that our discussion about it is best, and we think that everyone else's is not best. So depending where everyone is in their space, they're going to have their issues. But I mean, whatever. People are going to think whatever they're going to want to think, and everyone's going to say whatever they want to say. So everyone's got their opinion. That's what's great about this country of ours, is you can say whatever the hell you want, and it's fine. So
First Amendment.
There you go.
And that is like, you know, we have a voice in the space, and we chose to direct our voice mainly to objective analytical view of programming. It's still an opinion piece when it comes down to it from us especially. We have a longer pedigree than most. We've been doing this for a long time. This is something that we pour our heart and soul in, and we spend a lot of time learning and improving and dissecting and, you know, screwing up and then getting better from those. But to sit here and say that we are the end all be all, absolutely not. Do we know more than most? Maybe, but
absolutely so.
No, not yet. And I'm not soapboxing, not yet. You never know. You never know. But you know, hey, to each their own. But you know, we try to stay in our lane the best way we can. We choose the programming lane, but we do the fan service episodes when there's something that we feel like we need to talk about outside the realm of programming. We have those conversations, but today it will be specifically about the programming, and more so about the two individual events programmed for the semifinals and the two team events programmed to the semifinals. That could be a fun shirt one day. It's just a rower throne. I want to use that crude. I want to use that crude version you made of me and all the rowers. But look, we appreciate you guys being here. with that being said, we posted on Instagram that we have a very special announcement. And since the inception of this podcast, we were like, hey, we should make some shirts. And we never really knew what to do because for those of you guys that are fans, those of you guys that are rolling with us, you guys are on the train with us. You're not just riding on the back, you're on the train with us. We call you programmatrons. That's who you are. That's who we are.
Yes.
We're programming fanatics. This is get with the programming and a programmatron. That's what we call you guys. And we're like, do we make a programmatron t-shirt? Maybe. But we wanted to do something that finally, I feel like all the stars aligned. And we wanted to make a shirt. So before we get into the events, those of you guys that are rolling with us now live, we're going to show you guys the first shirt that we have lined up. And if you know Bill and I, we think we are. We're OGs in the sport. Right? We're OGs in the sport.
I'm glad you didn't say old in the sport.
No, we're OGs in the sport. And we wanted to make a shirt that
says individual semifinals on it.
That represented that. All right. And so for those of you guys watching, here it is. Here it is. Oh, no.
Yeah, you had the wrong.
I had it up. I got it. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, we say we're pretty OG. So we wanted to make a shirt that reflected that. Let me see if I can. Oh, there it is.
I mean, look at that.
Look at that.
Now, you guys have to understand, we have programmatron shirts and all those things that are in the mix, but there wasn't anything that was really, it was one of those things like, we'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of the stuff that's been going on over the past year, I think, there's a lot of like CrossFit's messing this up, or they're good on these things, or they're bad on those things, or this switch, that switch, the other switch. The fact is that we are CrossFit fanatics for what the methodology, the idea, the original plan, the original version of CrossFit is all about. That's how we design our workouts. That's how we design our events. That's how we program. That's how we think. That's how we talk. That's how we are. So this shirt came out of me and Chase just behind the scenes going, what the hell is this? And this is going on. Blah, 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 blah. Man, I wish that this was this way or that was that way. And we started coming up with the idea, and Chase was like, you know what? I'm going to put like the pukey clown in the O. And originally it was the O of the CrossFit. And then he just said, what do we think about this? And it was this design right here. And I'm like, dude, that is amazing.
Yes.
And it is. Look at that. OG. I am OG CrossFit. Chase is OG CrossFit.
Yes.
How long has your affiliate been up now?
9 years coming up in August.
9 years. How long have you been doing CrossFit?
Since 2008.
So we are in our 14th year.
Yes.
And I've been doing it since started 2002, but like 2006. So we have been dabbling in this thing a long time. Yes. And it is who we are to a core. So this, I mean, dude, you couldn't have made this any better. This is us right here.
Thank you. Thank you. And a shout out to Sherpa Works, man.
Right on.
Ken and everything that they put together. I had to spitball a lot of ideas and designs here, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to make a shirt that is a tip of the cap, right? A nod to the good old days and a foundation for what we want the future to be like, because that's what CrossFit is to us. This era, this idea, this mentality, this community was my favorite times of CrossFit. And it's not like they're not favorite now, but I feel like we can get back to some of the good times, right? And this is what this is about. So we're taking something that was near and dear to us, and that is that pukey clown. Now, if you guys know which clown this is,
then
you're really OG. And I'm not going to say it. I'm going to see if anybody can guess, because the original Pukey the Clown was on .com, right? It was it was like the icon, like what is it? Like the avatar for the website.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember that they used that for like an open announcement? They like put it on the floor. Do you remember that? I think it was 2013.
Yeah. Like the crossed eyes and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. They're literally throwing up on the ground.
Up.
On an open That was 20. I think it was 2013. They put that on an open announcement floor on the competition floor. That's where we were at. And so, if you guys know where this design comes, because those that do know exactly what was the issue surrounding
Well,
the
and that shirt,
shirt.
I have that shirt too.
I have this shirt.
Yeah.
This was on a shirt.
Yep.
But this is what we want, right? This is what we want. We want to create a shirt that's for the people. It's not isolated to us. Wasn't this no. Wasn't
Nope.
this Yuki on the wall at HQ at the gym? No, that's a different one. That was a different one. That was the just the head with the circles around it. I could pull that one up. But yeah, I'm not even gonna tell you. If somebody gets it right while we're talking, we'll tell you. But those of you guys that are watching live, we are going to come out with these shirts pretty soon. This is the black version. However, we have multiple colors coming in the works once we get the website up. Yes, this is kind of like the Pukey at the ranch, which is really like the giant figurine. But this Pukey was actually on a shirt.
Yeah, this is an actual logo. This was an actual design. Yeah.
Yeah, over 10 years ago, almost close to. Right?
It was right before. It was right before the Hot Shot 19.
Oh, really?
It was right around that time, I think.
Oh, wow.
Because that was, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh. David. David, you're on to something. If you guys are watching on YouTube, David, if you're listening on the podcast, you are correct. There was a shirt made during the era of which there has been so many. What is it like Men in Black? Like there's an extinction level event like every other 4 years. You just don't know about it, right? And that was like a decade ago. We almost lost the company because there was a what was it? The Anthos? What were they? Were they like a venture capitalist group or some type of hedge fund group?
Yeah, it was a divorce thing.
Well, yeah. So Greg Glassman's ex-wife, who owned half of the company or the stake in the company, was getting courted by, or I want to say almost like swindled by, this group called Anthos. And what they wanted to do was to buy her shares and take 50% ownership of the company. Yeah. And what they wanted to do, which they were very, very close in doing, was to turn CrossFit into a franchise model, like an Orange Theory or an F45. And that was going to happen more than it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then what Greg went out and did is basically like bankrupt. Well, he didn't bankrupt himself, but he basically did everything he possibly could as far as like getting people. He
hustled as much money to be able to buy the rest of that out.
Yes. Orange 45. And basically bought her out.
Yeah.
Instead of Anthos. Right. And so they made shirts back in the day, which we have.
Yep.
I can't remember who made them. Was it Life is RX?
It might be Life is RX. Yeah. I think it is.
I think it is. Life is RX. They made a shirt on the front and just said unbuyable. And on the back, they had this giant Pukey the Clown, but in this like more upright, angry, muscled version. So that is where this logo is coming from. So if you've been around a while, or shit, if you've only been around a year, but you got an OG mentality like us, get ready for the shirts. Shirts, crops, tank tops in multiple different colors are coming down the pipe, but we just wanted to share that. I just want to share that with you guys live.
I think it's cool. I think it's so cool.
And I'm wearing a sample one right now.
I know, and I'm jealous as hell.
Yes. Yes.
Damn.
Well, he's in Fort Worth, so it's a little bit easy for me to. He's 30 minutes away.
So I'm just saying. He's
30 minutes away, but
doesn't mean I can't be jealous still.
Yeah. So jealous. Thank you guys. Tank crops. Ooh. Well, Corey, with a pair of scissors, there's no telling what you can do with a shirt. But be on the lookout for more official announcement. We'll have a website dedicated to it where you guys can buy them and they'll ship them directly to you. So the simplicity of the whole process will be there for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. But those of you guys joining us right now, we wanted to give that to you. Thank you guys for being live with us. And let's get to the real stuff, is that we want to talk about the events that CrossFit just programmed and released for all the semifinals. And we'll start. Do you want to start individuals or you want to start?
Yeah, I do individuals.
Individuals.
Yeah.
You want to get more positive as the podcast. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Wait. So let me answer this question from David. David, what did you say? Oh, what year did you have to start CrossFit to be considered OG? Man,
I'll say this. I will say this. It's a mindset. It's
Yeah.
not a year. It's a mindset. The mindset is grit, hard work, and you put your head down. You do work. It's not the everybody gets an award and let's just rally around mediocrity. And it's like, dude, that bar is 95 pounds. Move the bar or move whatever you can do. That's what it's a OG mentality. So
Corey, you are absolutely right. These shirts will immediately add 35 pounds to your snatch or 70 pounds to your deadlift, depending on who you are.
Hell
But
yeah.
Bill, you're 100% right. It is a mindset. But if we gave a number, something prior to maybe 2012. I'm just kidding. This is for everyone, right? This is for everyone that carries that mentality, carries that mindset. And honestly, like this isn't a rebel shirt. This is we know who we are. We know what we want it to be. So we are going to make sure that we carry that into the future. This is not a complainer. This is not for those that want to have a bitch fest and do nothing about it, right? You want your CrossFit gym to be awesome? Then make it awesome.
Then make it awesome.
That's it. You want it to open to be more fun for your gym? Then make it more fun. Quarterfinals, semifinals. You want to be an OG? Then buy a ticket to a semifinal event and go watch that shit in person. That's OG mentality. Show the fuck up. There's your soapbox, Jamal. There it is. There it is. All right, so let's talk individual event number 1, even though it says workout, so that's not a good start. This is a repeat event from the 2014 regionals that Bill, listen, I texted you when these came out and it's like, did your knee sense a force?
Yeah, I remember this one. I do. This was the one, honestly, that put me out of the open division because I blew my ACL out on this one. I think it was like round 3. Still finished the event, busted out Achilles or ACL. I mean,
yeah.
But I like the event. Okay, I like this. I like what it is. I will start there before we start hammering it.
Well, I mean, so the event itself, if you guys are listening, 10 rounds for time, 1 legless rope climb, followed by basically a shuttle run. So shuttle runs continue. And in 2014, I feel like you've got to look at this on 2 different divisions, which like people don't like to, but the way this works, I would say on the men's side is much different than it works on, I would say, the women's side. So let's talk about the men first. It was such a close race last year, or not last year, in 2014, when it came to this event. Like people were separated by seconds.
Right.
8 years later, everyone has only got better. And the question I hear a lot, or I've seen a lot, is should they have made this harder since it's 8 years later? And I think it kind of depends on really what you want to get out of it. When you look at, say, Fran, for your general demographic, it's a great test. For the elite individuals, it's not. Then it just becomes like size dependent.
Right.
And then the question's like, well, do we make it heavier to make it harder? It's like, no, because that's not really what Fran is. And I think in this case, though, you could look at this and say this is pretty boring if you just look at it on paper, or you didn't get like your favorite regional workout. Like a repeat doesn't have to be like the best one ever, because it's hard to judge this test in a vacuum when there's 4 other or 5 other events tied to it, you know? And I don't know. The more I look at this, when it first came out, I was like, oh, okay. You know, I was hoping for something more fun, but like this, this event was fun to watch back in 2014. You
as
take
far
it.
as far as the okay, I'll give my little piece on it. As far as what the event is in a vacuum, whether it's a repeat or not, I like the event. I mean, yeah, it's going to be close. Totally, it's going to be close like it was, and to, I mean, I don't think that the legless rope climbs, at least for your top athletes on the men's side, are going to be this massive difference where all of a sudden everyone is a legless rope climb master. Like, you can only kind of get so good at rope climb, legless rope climbs, that you have your initial jump and then you go from there. And that's kind of it. Like, you can't really improve the movement. Like a regular rope climb, you can. How high you move your feet up and how you lock and how fast you descend and all that kind of stuff. But the event itself is fine. I like the event. I liked what it was when we did it. I liked watching it. I think that it's fun to have it. The downside I have for this is we just did a shit ton of fucking rope climbs. You just did that in the quarterfinals.
True.
We do not need to test that again and to say, oh, well, those were regular rope climbs and these are legless rope climbs. It's like, come on, man. We don't need to have, in the course of seeing what athletes are going to be making it to the CrossFit Games, over 20 rope climbs to see if that person should make it or not. And I just think that if we were going to be picking a gymnastic event, because that's what this is. I mean, the run is the run. It just is what it is. I mean, a closer version,
yes,
a more fun version, where they ramped it up, would be what they did at the games at Aromas the last year, where they had the bike and then the double rope climbs.
mm-hmm.
Like, that to me is like, okay, now if you're gonna do the same version, at least the two pieces have merit, like the merit to it. The run part is a waste. I just feel that we just did this. We don't need to do it again. I think it was a waste of an event myself.
Oh, hey, look what just happened.
What?
Wad Zombie.
Well, dang.
He has $2. You're the first person to do anything on this podcast with that. Have we qualified for this? Holy shit.
I didn't know that was possible. Thanks, Wad Zombie.
Well, and I'll answer Wad Zombie's question here, not because he paid for it, but so let's take our emotions out for just a sec and look at this test relative to the group that will be fielding next, and think of, okay, test of fitness. Yes, we did a lot of rope climbs in the quarterfinals. You're right. And shuttle runs. Some did half. So that's a cheap shot. Okay. But I look at this like the event is now different because everybody has gotten much better. And again, we're talking men first. We'll touch on the women's side here in a second. That now, so if you guys are watching on that, look at how slow everybody's running. So in 2014, it was all about rope climb stamina, or if you're Easy Muhammad in this case, is how high can you jump? But the runs became structured rest. Now, with this 8 years later, the shuttle runs are now, I think, a major component of this test. So I think this is actually a better fitness test than it was in 2014, because in 2014, it was so new and it was more of like, you either have it or you don't, where now everybody has it. So you better be faster and fitter than you were in 2014.
Yeah, but that's taking the event, and I don't disagree with what you're saying about the event itself by itself, but you have to look at what you're qualifying, how you're qualifying people to get to the games. I don't think that this is I don't think it's an appropriate test at this point, because we already did the rope climbs. Any test is going to be you can say it's a good test of fitness. I mean, do they have to run hard? Fine. Do they have to push hard? Sure. Is there some heavyweight? Maybe, depending on what. I mean, you can say that on everything. So you can't just say, is this event a good test of fitness? It's like saying, is Fran a good test of fitness? Well, maybe. Compared to what? I mean, you have to look at it in the full spectrum with all of the events that have been put together. And as we have said before, when we've analyzed the game stuff, is when you look at the entire season, the open, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, in the games,
right?
did we get all the steps to get the right people to the games? And I think that this piece, because we already had rope climbs, and I granted they're regular rope climbs, not legless rope climbs. Is this a missed piece? Did we gain anything on this one that we couldn't have gained? If they wanted to have a gymnastic event, they could have done something else. And I'm kind of wondering, like, when I looked at the Syndicate actually has all of their events up right now.
Yes, they do.
They did a good job of I think working around that, but I almost wondered with the 2 events they put up that they had to change some of the events that they had and modify them around that because of that. I just think that this was a miss. I of all of the events they could have picked, if you want to repeat something cool, like if you were gonna do it, do regional Nate.
Ooh.
Like if you need a gymnastic event, do regional Nate.
But now with the strict muscle ups.
Whatever. I mean, you can make it regular muscle ups if you want. I don't care. But I think that would be, there's more merit in that than doing rope climbs and running again that we just did.
Okay.
I don't think it's needed.
How do you see this one on the women's side, though? Because I think it is a completely different test now.
Yes, it is a different test. Yes, you are going to have, I know that, like this was the event that kept Katrin out of the games. I get that this was the event that Sam Briggs just smashed people. And we saw like the women that had the rope climbs crushed people. And yes, the pulling capacity on the women's side, especially back then, has increased for sure. I get it. But my same point goes back to, we just did a shit ton of rope climbs.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't think we need to do it again. I don't think that we are gaining. I would rather, again, if it was a gymnastic piece, and I don't know how they're doing the run piece. I don't know if they're doing that you have to move it down. I don't know if they're doing actual shuttles like they did for our setup or what they're doing.
So I believe that I know they're doing a shuttle. I know it's a little bit shorter because not all the semifinals could accommodate the 120-foot length that they had at regionals, so they had to shorten it a little bit. And I know some are using chess pieces. And some
the Syndicate says the Syndicate said 200 feet.
Right. So I think everyone's.
See, now here's the thing.
A little bit different.
It shouldn't be different. And this is if you're going to make it this way, then everyone's supposed to be, then the distance should be the same. The setup should be the same. They should have to go down and back however many times.
Yeah.
If it's 50 feet down and then 50 feet, I mean, whatever the number is, it should be the same. But again, even on the women's side, I don't feel that we're getting what we could be getting out of the event. I just don't think we are. I would rather, even on the women's side, put regional Nate with regular muscle ups in there so that you don't have to worry about it. Like if you need a gymnastic piece, because that's what this is. I mean, dude, we did the quarterfinal for the Masters, and it was literally rope climbs and shuttle run, and that was it. No wall ball in that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And the shuttle run was not the shuttle run. It was all about rope climbing.
You're right. And that was
yeah. So I don't know. I feel again, it's not that I don't like the event. I think that when I stand back and I look at, here's CrossFit's opportunity to make sure that they are picking across the board. They're looking for specific things coming out of their athletes to get to the games. And what do we just pick? Things that we just did, and then we'll get to the weightlifting one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it didn't throw to me an even thread through all of the because now what I did, like I say Syndicate because I just saw that they had all this stuff up. I haven't even looked to see if the other events have theirs up yet, but I like the fact that that and this is where we kind of go back into the
hold on, Bill,
this blend thing.
You guys are going a little batshit crazy.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Thank you guys. You guys are way awesome.
Kurt, Janelle, $10, Kurt, 15. Thank you guys. Like, you guys are going
5. And I was a 10. I got a 10. I got a 15.
Hey, I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I think there could have been a much better one from them. I don't hate it as much as most do.
It's not a hate thing. That's what's so weird. I love the event.
Okay, yeah, that
It's not a hate. It's like, you guys, again, we're looking at the programming. And there has been an issue that we've had with the overall design of the program this whole time, from the open to the quarters to now. And again, it was like, man, I feel like, and I'm not saying that this is what's happening. I don't know what's happening, but I feel like it's like, hey, you over there, you come up with your open stuff. Okay, come up with some stuff. Hey, you over there in this other state, come up with some quarterfinal events. Hey, how about you over here come up with some regional stuff? And they're not joined up. They aren't. There's no congruency. There's no continuity between that. Because if there was any other thing, look at all the issues that people had about, like, for the open, pushing burpees. Pulling, pushing burpees. It's like, we just did that. And now here we are again, we're rope climbing, running, and we're going to do rope climbing, running again. Oh, but we're going to make it harder because these will be legless.
right.
It's the same thing, man. Come on. I don't know. I think it's a miss.
Holy shit, Bill.
Dude, you guys.
Corey.
Like, I kind of want to give it back to you.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Really do. You guys are awesome.
I just kind of want to go like, hey, take that, Sevon.
Yeah, right. Take that, Sevon. Now, if you guys look, shout out to you, awesome people doing this. But if you want to save a couple pennies and wait for these bad boys to come out, just saying, or we'll take both. We'll take both. But look, all joking aside, Bill, I totally get what you're saying. I really do.
And I do, and Drew, I will agree with $25. I'll agree with that. And then also, I agree, it's lazy program. In fact, I think that's what I sent you, Chase. I think that was like, hey, I'm like, I just think it's weak programming. Of all of the things they could have picked, all of the regional workouts that they wanted to repeat, all of the gymnastic regional workouts that they could have picked, that's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one that fit between the open, the quarters, and this to get people to the games. I think it was a miss.
Bill, Jamal has this question, and I'll answer it so I can go grab a charger because my computer's about to die.
Yeah, go get your charger.
I think the art of storytelling during the game season is over, and I think some of that question hinders on not the same storylines to get to the games with comes to programming, and are the storylines getting mudded up because of, say, some of the shortcomings from CrossFit?
Yeah, I do, and that's and. I think that storytelling for the athletes is one thing, how someone, the miles to Madison and that kind of stuff. It's cool to see people that are getting through, but the one, and this isn't this really isn't even I wish Dave was back. I mean, yeah, I like the way Dave programs for sure, but what Dave did, to his credit, was he always had the entire season mapped out. And I know that it's hard to say. I know this is a transitional year too. So there are going to be a lot of things that are, kind of mulling around with that. But yeah, I don't see the same flow from, one stage to the next stage to the next stage all the way through. And that's just sad. That's just really sad. Welcome back, Teddy. Good to see you, man. Yeah, Bruce, I think that I like the way he programmed. I really did. And granted, look, even with Dave has jacked up programs and events as well. We all have. So it's not to say that you can't have a bad event, but what he did was there was that thread that went all the way through. So you could see how you would whittle people out and the athletes that you were getting to, to go from one stage to the next. So I think that's important to know. Yeah, pretty bad. Anyway, what do you guys got on here? We got everybody. Yeah, he did have a theme. Mark, he did have a theme. And I like that that's one of the things that he talked about. I mean, he regularly would bring that up. So, man, I don't even know. Repetitive? I know that there are things that are repetitive. I mean, obviously the rope thing is repetitive. I said that right there. But I think what it is that there's no continuity. That's the problem. It is there's nothing that's joining one piece to the next piece to the next piece. Oh, hi, welcome back.
Hey, sorry.
And I think that's I think that's what makes it hard. And again, we're transitional. There was a lot of things that happened right in the middle of the season, and this isn't a shot on Boz or a shot on it. It just is what it is what I'm calling it. And I don't see the continuity. And that's just sad, because again, you could have 3 great events in at the Open, and you could have 5 great events in the quarterfinals. You could have 5 great events or 6 great events in the semifinals, but if they aren't connected, you could have the wrong person end up at the games.
Yeah, I see that.
So
I see that. Before we move to event 2, or the second one, Stefan was saying should be some grace for Adrian this year, given what the guy is having to deal with.
totally.
I mean, on the back end, look, he's dealing with a lot. He really is. Like, and he said that before in some roundabout ways on other podcasts. Is listen, Boz is in a position that he didn't ask for. Let's all take a step back and understand that Boz is in a position he never asked for, he never wanted, and especially got in the way at which he was got or given. He didn't want that. And so now he's thrust in a position to basically like drive the whole ship, missing one of his best friends and key components of this journey that he's been on for 15 years. Now, I'm not saying that's an excuse to like, and I'm not saying he's doing this, but like, it's not a free pass. But this
isn't
tough,
a pointing
guys.
finger at Boz. This
Yeah.
is I'm looking solely at the programming. And when I look at the programming, I don't see continuity like there has been any other time. I don't see that rope climbs to rope climbs. I mean, because guess what? I could almost guarantee, like I can't guarantee, but I can almost guarantee there's been rope climbs in a hell of a lot of CrossFit game events.
Yes.
Are we not going to have them there because we've had them in 2 other quarterfinals? I don't know. It just seems odd to me.
Yeah. And it's just been a tough. I feel like we said that the last couple of years. It's just been a tough year.
Yeah.
Tough year.
Yeah, at some point you just have to just kind of go, look, okay, it is, but so what?
Yeah.
I mean, I think this to me is an easy fix.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have picked this one.
Now that being said, I'm not saying, hey, give the guy a break. He's doing the best he can, as if like he's incapable of. Like,
right.
To me, and I've had the pleasure of talking with Boz on the CrossFit Games podcast. We recapped the quarterfinals, and he answered, and Alyssa's actually talking about this. He answered every question. And I had some tough ones for him as far as what the community at large was and some of the things that we had talked about. And he's talked about the semifinal stuff. So those 2 are out. If you guys go listen to them, if you want to get a better idea of the mindset, the demeanor, and the devil in the details that Boz possesses, go listen to those to get a better perspective of where Boz is at. The thing is like, it's not turnkey. It's not fixed finger on the button. Like, that's just not how it works. But if you guys want a better idea of like who he is, where he's coming from, and the things that they are aware of and want to fix, like that's on there. So, all right, let's move to event 2. That is let me pull this up. Where are you? Windows, Chrome tabs, or Windows? That is the lifting event. Now, this is one that we had talked about of things we'd like to see CrossFit actually standardize. And I think we're both pretty unanimous on, we feel like it's imperative to be consistent across the board is the lifting one, because so much can go wrong here, semifinal to semifinal.
Well, yeah, if you're going to be testing deadlift or you're testing a 1 rep max snatch, those are 2 totally different athletes. So at least here you can generalize your strength component across the board. And the other thing that it does is it doesn't allow for all of this, like for the semifinal event to get overly creative. We know that happens sometimes. It's like, okay, boom, here's your standard event for your strength.
Mhm.
And I mean, and I'll say this, my personal opinion on this is this is cool. I'm good with this. I mean, I like it. I would always opt for a couple of the reps more than just like a pure strength. But I like this one. 3 cleans, 2 front squats, and a jerk. I think that's cool. I like it.
I do too, and I like the complex because I think it's funny how we said this was a little bit of a negative when you go rope time, the rope climb, like it was legs in quarters and now it's legless. This is, I would say, almost the other total which the individuals took the test on was a good setup for this type of strength test, I feel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
That
can see
the
that.
complex,
I can see that.
I think was
Yeah, everyone talked about the Bella complex.
yeah, right. And so the Bella Complex is at the Rogue Invitational last year, and this is a little bit, it was clean, jerk, front squat, jerk. This is similar.
Mhm.
Um, but this isn't like a completely different field that took the test. So, for example, you did the other total, which was a max clean, max overhead squat, max bench, and then say at semifinals they just programmed like 10 rep max front squat, or I'm trying to think of something totally off the wall, right? A deadlift ladder or something where it's like, okay, how we got these athletes here with this test, this is so off the wall balance where I feel like this is a good complex test based off the field that we vetted to get here. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it's a good. We talked about the reason we liked and we called it what it should be the CrossFit total, the other total, was that generally speaking, other than the bench, they're CrossFit movements. They're movements that we count as not just pure powerlifting movements, where you
Mm.
need to have. It's not as party trickish as you like to say, when it comes to the different strength pieces. So you got to clean it 3 times. To be able to clean. I mean, unless you're Chandler Smith. I mean, like you're the only one that can manhandle weight around without the most beautiful form. But
Can't have that comment.
you have to have good technique. You have to have good strength for the front squats, and then you have to have a good enough positioning to get the bar up overhead for the jerk. And there's also an element, like if you go heavy enough, there's an element of that fatigue on that jerk.
Mhm.
So I like the event. And again, that's the consistency part. Okay, now none of the other events have to worry about, like, have we tested a good version of a ultimate strength
Mhm.
getting into the CrossFit Games. And that's cool. Now you can have your other events where you can have some heavy stuff that you're going for reps, or some moderate weights that you're going for reps, or even body weight stuff to go for reps as you're moving through the different things. We just hit something heavy. And if you go back to the Rogue with the Bella, like that event was great because that was the strength event,
Mhm.
and it did exactly what it needed to do. You saw athletes got to actually put some weight around. And it's like, okay, we got to see like who has a pure strength. And for the most part, it read the way it was supposed to read.
Yeah,
So I
and I
think that's
don't think
good.
when I think pure strength, and this is semantics, but details are important when we're objectively looking at these things. Like, it's not pure strength in a sense of a one-off, right? This isn't a 1 rep max. This is a 6 rep complex. So I think there's a level of fitness that needs to be
Yes.
in this test, because yes, this is a strength test. This is also an endurance test. When you think about the amount of load and time these athletes are going to be under for 3 cleans, 2 front squats, and 1 shoulder overhead, there's a massive element of strength endurance that comes to this, even though it's only 6 reps, but every rep is so taxing. Is that this isn't a one-off max lift.
If you're at the right heavy weight, yes, you're right. It should be. And those that say that it's not, that you're not feeling that fatigue, then you're not going heavy enough.
Mhm.
I mean, because if you were an Olympic lifter and you were doing like doubles or triples, you would hit your lift, you drop it, you'd stand back for a second. Well,
Yeah.
this is, you're under that weight for the entire time. So if you are heavy enough, and that's what was great about the Bella complex, is the athletes were under the weight the entire time.
Yes.
And that's what makes that so great. And that adds the fitness element not just the one-off strength element to it, which I think is awesome.
Stefan said, I wish CrossFit will have a worldwide leaderboard for these two events specifically. I think they might. And if they don't, somebody will. I know our Tyler Taylor buddy.
Yeah.
He always puts together something like that. And I'm in the same camp as I would love a cross semifinal comparison worldwide of how this is. But I really like this test overall. I think it's going to be a fun test to watch. I think it's also going to be, I think it's really going to be fun for the athletes to do. Because it's, we've done our ladders, we've done our max lists, we've done our, our 3 reps. And like, this isn't a complex we've ever done before in sanctioned or certified competition. And complexes are just fun to do.
It's crazy that, like, in training, you'll use complexes in training to build strength and time under tension, and to have you have a level of fatigue when you go to those heavier lifts. So, I program this complex actually a lot.
Really?
When I'm training for and programming for my athletes, but I like the fact of it being in an event because of what it just does.
Yeah.
It's a cool setup. Yeah, I really do like. I like this event, and this is a big win to me. As okay, see, now this got everyone. This got the piece out of the way that you don't want anyone to mess with. I don't think the rope climbs did that.
I could see that. It's funny you say you do this complex a lot. I do something similar. I usually just do like minier versions of DT, which is deadlifts, hang power cleans, and push jerks. We did a workout yesterday. It was I think you would love this. It was 20 rounds for time of 3 deadlifts, 2 hang power cleans, and 1 push jerk at 225 and 155.
Oh, I do like that.
The complex had to be unbroken.
Yeah.
And after watching it, I was like, oh, this would be a fun strength.
Yeah.
Like it's a strength test. Like if you're strong and you're fit, then you have checked all the boxes to be a games athlete, so to speak. It doesn't have to be a one-off.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a 1 rep max. In fact, in a sample size of only 6 events, it should not be a 1 rep max.
Totally.
So, all right, let's anything else on the strength test?
Nope. So far, we're 1 and 1.
1 and 1
for me.
1 and 1. So one thing is CrossFit didn't dictate. Corey, it was fun, by the way. Fun as fuck. Yes. Well, it was fun, but it looked nasty as far as that workout. Do you like that CrossFit gave the freedom to the semifinals to put these wherever you want, or would you prefer them to?
Personally, I think that they should say. I think that they should have made it the similar across the board.
So what do you think? I would honestly, okay, so if you dictated it, where would you put these?
I would put the strength event on the. I put the strength event on the either the 3rd day or the last event in the 2nd day, and I'd have the gymnastic event, the 2nd event, on the 1st day.
Oh, okay, interesting. I'll say just bookend them. Strength event 1, yeah. Rope climb event 6.
I said the rope climb on the 1st day because that way you'd forget about how stupid it was.
All right, so let's move to the team. So Bill says we're 1 for 1 of like and dislike as far as the events are concerned. Let's go to the team. Now, we said there was a repeat for the individual event. This is a repeat-ish of the team event. One major thing is in 2014, there was a thruster rope climb event, but it was teams of 6. It was groups of 3 working at a time. Now that we've moved to 4, obviously that event needs to be modified in a little bit. And for what it is now, I really like what they did because they went from leg, like you could use your legs in 2014, and now it's legless. Instead of getting 2 people of rest, you only get 1, right? It's a you go, I go format. Women go first, men go second. It's 40, 30, 20 of thrusters at 135 and 95 and 6, 4, 2 of legless rope climbs. I like this test because to me, the hard part about teams is you don't want to overdo an event where it almost becomes how well can you navigate the event as far as strategy and where you put people versus there should be an element of test test of fitness when it comes to this. Oh, what's up, Morning Chalk Up? Well, hello.
What's
We're
up,
using
guys?
we're using your Instagram photos for the events because CrossFit didn't add the final event for the teams on there. We're using your fully detailed event stuff. What's up, guys? But what are your thoughts on the difference of the two and the element of now? I think this is a much more apt test of fitness versus strategy. Well, I think there's a huge element of strategy, but it's not just about that.
Right, and I would have been pissed. I would have even been complaining even more about the rope climb event if it was run. I like the fact that they made it thrusters. That is a nasty setup. We've seen that on the individual side. We've seen that in the games versions. We've seen that in different team levels. I like with this setup, and I think that it's a good setup. This to me is a good regional workout. Now, I still don't like the fact. How many rope climbs did they have to do in the quarters?
The teams? I
Yeah.
think they only had 10 per pair, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I'll look it up.
I will say this. I don't feel like this is the exact same event as on the individual side. So it doesn't ping me as much.
From the corners to
From the quarters to
the
now.
side. Got it.
Yeah. I feel that the amount of thrusters that are in here, even though it's light, lends itself to be more that like, okay, now it's even between your rope climbing and your thrusters. Where like the shuttle run, like I said, we did that run, and yeah, you can go fast, but it ends up being a shuffle. You're not shuttle running, you're shuffle jogging, sorta, so they can make sure that you can get your rope climbs in. I like again when I stand back and I look at just the event itself, I really like the event alone. Um, I think it fits much better than on the individual side. I'll say that.
Okay.
I'm not overly happy with having more rope climbs, but I think that it fits better than did on the individual side.
So the individuals in quarterfinals had to do 10 rope climbs between each pair. So this is 12 and it's legless.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So yeah, I mean, I can see that.
But you got but again, like we're talking about the level of fitness that's involved in it as well. It's not just when you have the legless rope climbs and the run. I mean, yeah, okay, you have the run and how fast you're running and blah blah blah. Man, look at those old shirts. It's so crazy looking back that far. It all comes down to, can you do rope climbs? What's your capacity on rope climbs? Now you have the thrusters that are going to make it's going to fatigue you more than a shuttle run would.
I mean, it's still 45. This isn't just a legless rope climb event, even though it's only 6 per, like 6 per athlete. It's 12 total.
Right.
I don't think it's that big.
That's what I mean.
Like 45 a piece on the thrusters if you just split it evenly with 135 and 95.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. But
I like the event better. I like it better than the individuals by far. By far.
Do you like it better than the 2014 one?
Oh, those are no reps. Okay. Yeah, I do. Because I think it'll be faster. I think it'll be faster, and it's meant to be with the 95 pounds. It'll be more of a sprint.
I like it. I think it's a much better test of fitness in a team setting than it was in 2014 for sure. Because in 2014, yes, there's more reps, but you had 3 people. It gave you more rest in between, where it just became, it's like, okay, how do we transition? How do we do this? This actually, I did see this, and I like your take before we move on to the final event, but was worm events are so vital at the games, and worm events at semifinals can be all over the place. What were your thoughts on maybe making them, as Brad is saying, worm thrusters and legless rope climbs?
Love it. I love it because that would have made it again. it keeps an element that's so important to the team aspect consistent throughout the board, consistent throughout the field. And I think that is I like that idea a lot. If they would have made it worm and rope climb, that to me would have been like, okay, well, yeah, we're in the team event. Like this is like when I think teams, I think worm.
Yeah.
So and it would be an event that would get the right people because you're going to see it at the games. You're going to see it.
Right. Right.
So now you can have some really good races at the games rather than people that are like trying to figure it out at the games.
Do you think CrossFit should have, like we said, dedicate a strength event, which they did for the teams, but should they have taken the worm event too? Because those things can be so different.
Yeah. We said earlier that CrossFit should be deciding where there is going to be some sort of where it can get weird. The weird part is going to be in the strength element. The weird part on the individual side to pick the right stuff that you're getting would be the gymnastic. All the other like classic CrossFit stuff is easy to do. I think that most people can kind of get their stuff in there. They can still have their, individuality and all that kind of stuff. I think that if they could have controlled the worm aspect to it, and I think that would have been a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea.
Yeah. All right. So Jamal's last question for that. Are worms readily available for all of these events? Yes, because most of these events now, not all of them, have access to a sponsorship, I think, agreement with Rogue, where most all have worms, except, and this is some of the crazy things I heard, like the South American semifinal. It's not as easy to get Rogue, but the one that was specific was the semifinal in South Africa, which I got to talk to Tien.
Right.
So cool. Because
Yeah.
remember, you got to talk to him last year because I couldn't do the behind the program with him.
Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome. But like Rogue can't get to Africa. Like there's not. So they have to do a local basically equipment sponsorship there. So do they all have access? That's actually a hard question to answer because it kind of depends on where they're at in the world. So that's a good question.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the final event here for the teams. And honestly, I really like that team event specifically, but this might be my favorite one that they have, and this is the team snatch ladder. The team snatch ladder with a little bit of a twist because ladders we've seen in the past is save for time. Or if it's a 1 rep max snatch, it's for weight. And this is a little bit of a combo of the two because you have a certain time to get through the ladder, but your score at the end is going to be total weight lifted as a team for 10 bars. But the kicker, and I think this is the best part, is that if you have an athlete that can get through all 10 platforms, is that there's an 11th platform and the athlete can basically walk up there and call the shot as far as what weight he wants to lift. And I think that is going to be one of the more fun things to watch in person.
Yeah. I mean, you want to have, there's an element, I think, on the heavy hitter side, on the team side, where you always are worried about your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
And we've really steered away from, where the strength of your team hinges on one athlete. But I think that this right here allows everybody to have their shot. It still matters what your least strongest athlete can do, but then you just get to rally behind everyone for that big punch in the swing. So it's like, okay, yes, we want to make sure that your low end, your bottom end is brought up, but why not have them throw? It doesn't all count on your heaviest, strongest athlete, but if you have that, now you get to send them out there to do it. So I think honestly, on the crowd side, that's going to be amazing. That is going to rally these teams up with the cheering and stuff that's going to go on. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. The final weight for the men of the 10 platforms is at 275. They start at 185. They jump 20 pounds, or no, they jump 10 pounds until you get to 275. The women is 135. The last bar is 180. I think at these weights, to Teddy's question is, do you think anybody will, how many do you think will run it through? I think more than we would see on the individual side, because this is a team competition where on the individual side, you have to have much more balance as far as your skill sets between strength, gymnastics, and endurance and everything else in between. On the team side, not as much. So we'll see more athletes, I believe, get to that last bar than I think we would for the individuals.
I agree.
Unless it's the MAC when all the dudes snatch 300 in the final.
Well, I mean, you get to have you're going to see I think you will see as in teams, you're always going to have people that are pseudo specialists. I mean, they're so much more well-rounded now, but you're going to have athletes that are, for the most part, just beastly strong. And so it'll be fun to see them go. It's really kind of interesting. This is kind of the opposite of isn't it in diving where you take your high score and your low score and you kind of strike them, and then you get your. This is almost kind of the opposite of that. So you have your two middle athletes. They're kind of they'll sort of be hanging in there, but it all comes down to what's your lowest athlete score and your highest athlete score.
Yes.
And then see what it kind of goes. The other people are kind of in the middle. It's kind of interesting.
Well, what I like too is that, listen, if you got a horse that can just go out there and rip, let them go.
Yeah.
I don't think what I like about this too is that if this was just like a 1 rep max and you just added the 4 weights together, I think your strong athlete, and maybe I'm way off here, has much of a bigger impact on that score. Where in this ladder format, there's still a lot of room for error. But if he can keep going and offset your weaker athlete, I think that's a cool thing. And what a fun thing to watch as a fan, for one. What a fun thing to have for that athlete for another. And just the overall viewers around the world, without it being this crazy, snatch ladder for time panic. We just see someone just march down. And again, when they get to the last platform, what I was made aware of, and this could change, but I think they can say what they want on the bar. Now the bar has to be 285 at minimum, because the last bar is 275. So for the men, it's 285. For the women, let me check here. It's 185. Right. So it's set up for 185, but they don't have to just lift that. If some guy hits 275 or some girl hits 180 and he rolls up and he goes, put 300 on the bar, they're going to, right? So they get one shot and they get to call it. So imagine watching that happen, or imagine knowing what you need. I mean, that's a lot of math.
Well, yeah, but when you see everyone down at the end, if you see who's at the end, and depending on the time frame you have, the gaming that's going to go on, and this is being an athlete and a coach and all of that, in this aspect, there is so much stuff that will be going on at that time. The coach is going to be looking around to see who's going to be hitting what can you hit? What do you need to roll with? You've already done 10 lifts up to this point. Now you're running almost purely on adrenaline. I mean, depending how strong you are. And you have to nail this lift. So you can swing for the fences, but you can't make it a waste of your time either. You want to make it count. Otherwise, you're just getting 275.
Right.
So I think this will be a very fun one. You know what? Honestly, when you talk about where we should put the event, I would love to see this one as the final for the teams.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you know how loud people get when they're lifting? In this now it's okay. You're going or not going to the game, so people are going to go nuts.
Yes.
Trying to get those weights up. All the pressure. Oh my gosh. That'd be good. That would be good.
Not as good as the lyrical geniuses that are our comments putting in these Eminem lyrics. The beauty of YouTube. I love you guys. There's so much more. You guys are so much fun. You're right. That would be awesome.
I mean, you would never really pick a lifting event like that as a final, but that particular one I think would be. I mean, what we kind of did, we've had the one like on the individual side where they did the 15 muscle ups and then the clean ladder.
Yes.
So we've had things like that, and it's that race to the end. But this is not so much the race, but just the yell of you need and the pressure of I need to get this weight.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I need to get this weight. I need to get this weight to go to the games.
And you're smoked.
Yes. Oh
So,
my gosh,
okay, so there's the
good.
balance, because say you put it, if you put it at the first event, everyone's fresh and you're going to see like monster lifts.
Right.
But you put it at the end, and I think it's more indicative of your overall fitness level as a team. There's more on the line. There's more pressure. And you're right. Maybe that is a better test to put as the final event. I mean, when was the last? Well, never. The finale was a max lift, but it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't really matter where you put him. Put him wherever you want. And you're right. Maybe that would be more exciting, especially if like on the broadcast, everyone could get their shit together.
Oh, dude.
And be able to be like, okay, they have to hit this and they'll be 5 pounds back. Or if they miss this, they're going to lose by 20 and they'll lose those 6 points. You know, that's when you need like Brian Friend there, just like feeding you notes.
Mathing all over the place.
Just mathing the whole time. But you're right. You're right. You're right. But I get having it first just because everybody's fresh. It's probably the safest place to put it if we want to even like talk about that route. I know. I mean, I'm going to get an eye roll.
I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, an eye roll from Bill when I say it. When I talk about athlete safety.
Come on.
But I see where it has its place. Obviously, you'll see bigger lifts when people are fresh. It's also a great icebreaker to the competition too. I mean, it can't tell me having the snatch event at the MAC, especially on the individual men's side, wasn't an awesome way to kick off the weekend. Players.
No, it was. I mean, that when everyone did that at the MAC, it set the stage and everyone was all hyped. But again, you know, like that's, I don't know. I just think that, I think if it was an individual thing, it would be different. It wouldn't be nearly as exciting because it's a team thing and you have the bottom end athletes and your top end athletes and you get that point of, I'm going to pick whatever. I think that would be really cool. Like if I had to pick where to put these two events for the team, I'd put the rope climb thruster one, the last event on day one, and I'd put this one as a final.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
That would be cool. All right. So those are the two for both indie and team. And for the other part is the way we look at these and judge these is one thing, but also how they combine with the other four that 10 different semifinals are programming with. But the thing we have to look at too is like all these semifinals were given these first, and then they had to accommodate the rest of the competition around them. So these aren't infused to what was already there. So when we go back and look at things, we got to make sure is that one of the challenges for the semifinals is to appropriately balance the test with these two as basically the foundation of what the other four should be.
Yeah, and I think, you know what we need to do is we need to start talking to some of these other events and just ask them, hey, you know, what were you given by CrossFit as far as like, here's the event, that's it? That's awesome. Or did they say, here's the event, do whatever you want around it? Like you could put these, this could be day one if you want or whatever. And just to hear it. Because I will say this, I like, if you haven't checked it out, check out Syndicate's events. They came up with some cool ones.
I do. I like those a lot. The Syndicate's coming out. Obviously, everything kicks off in a week from now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy. Torian Pro's already kicked out a lot of their events already. The like Strongman Diane stuff. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Like there's, and that's the fun part. That's my favorite part of the year is seeing new programming and looking at it and just being like, wow, like I never thought of that. Now I can add it to my just like carousel and Rolodex of different ways we can do this. I think is really cool. I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm really
excited.
Good. All right. What's your overall take after seeing what these are? Thumbs up review. I know it's only 2 each, but do you want to do one for individual, one for team, or just the overall collective?
I would say individuals and team because I feel they're different. So if we're going to do it that way, for individual, I'll do 1 thumbs up because I was literally split 50-50. That's not to say that I don't like the event. I like the rope climb event. I don't like how it's set, and I don't think we need that one in there, but I like the strength event. Yeah. On the team side, I'll say, I'll go 1.5 on the team side. I like the 2 events. It's still like, it would have, after talking about the worm, I would have liked to see the worm in there instead of the thrusters. I don't see that as much as a rope climb event solely as it is a fitness event with the thrust and the push and the pull. I like the event. So I'll go 1.5.
Okay.
On that one. Yeah.
I'm with you on the team one, or sorry, the individual one. I give it a thumbs up. Right? Could they have done something more fun? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a bad test? No. Would I've liked to see something different? Yes. But that's just more personal preference. I am very curious to see the tight races of what it's going to be. I know that's been kind of something's talked about. I was like, they were so close in 2014. How much closer are they going to be here? And I was like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually think it's an exciting thing. As long as you have
close race isn't bad. Close race isn't bad.
Let me that. As long as there's chip timing, because
right.
I don't want to see a 7-way tie when there was clearly a 7-way finish difference. But I believe they all will have that capacity. And I would like to see a race in the last 2 rope climbs in every single heat for both the men and the women. And if that is the final event, then it comes down to who makes the games or not. I think that will be exciting. Even though it might not be the most exciting event they could have picked as a repeat, especially like if they're going to repeat one, yeah, they probably could have picked something different. On the team side, I give it, we got to see how the rest plays out. I like the difference of this rope climb event as opposed to the one in 2014. I think it makes it much more about fitness than it does strategy. But at the same time, there's almost more strategy to play off with you and your partner, because now you start divvying up skill sets and abilities, which I think this is a nice blend of the two. And I'm really pumped about this snatch ladder and how it's going to go. I'd like to see how that 11th platform shakes out when it comes to this. So for what it is, I'll give it 1.5, and I'll give it 1 3/4. I really do like these things. 2, we rarely give out 2s, but for what these 2 are, I'm going to give it 1 3/4. So I really like the team ones more than I do the individual. I'm with you on the individual rope climb one. I'm not quite as put off by it, but at the same time, I totally get people's dislike with it, where meaning there could have been better options.
100%.
If we were going to repeat anything, right?
I mean, there were a lot of options to choose from.
A lot of options. Oh, well, hey, that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you for joining us. This was super fun. You guys were so much fun today, and thanks for being way too generous in what you guys did for us.
Yeah, seriously.
That was super cool. If you guys are watching right now, you guys see the background of this. You guys can see it right there on my chest. We are making shirts. We are making OG shirts for the OG mentality. If you know the clown logo, then you are a true OG. And if you don't know it, ask somebody. This is a conversation piece, if anything, right?
I like it.
We got a website coming up. Once we have that fledged out, it'll be, I'll put it here in the chat, the GWPpodcast.com. That is where we will have a merchandise set up, and we'll have a bunch of different colors. We'll have t-shirts, crop tees, and tank tops in other colors. We'll let you guys know when that launches officially, but be on the lookout on social media, because some people that you guys follow or are fans of, some OGs of the community, may be popping up here and there on social media with these bad boys. So get them while you can. We'll let you guys know when they're ready. And thanks for joining us, gang. We really do appreciate the interaction, the feedback, and as always, thanks for making us try to be better. As Bruce, 2 thumbs up for the show. Oh gosh, that's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate everything you guys do for us, and we just makes us want to work harder for you. So y'all have a wonderful Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Go.
Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday, everyone. And shoot, let's get ready for semis, y'all. All right. Take care.
Later.